Hello and welcome. I am the Restless Kaiser, and once again we are modelling for advantage. Today's episode, It Came from the Sea. So, industry news, there's a lot to talk about, and I had actually recorded the bulk of this episode a couple of weeks ago, got in touch with Warlord about Victory at Sea, which I'd wanted to talk about. They said they were going to send through some information. I think they're just swamped under with COVID stuff, so I haven't got anything to share with you that you haven't seen in other sources. They got miniatures out to people before this had all happened, and I know that a lot of people have different views about the basing for them. For me, I quite like it, but I understand a lot of people don't. But speaking of Victory at Sea, there is an article about Victory at Sea in War Games Illustrated, which has just gone back into print again. I like this magazine, been buying it for quite a long time from W.H. Smith. This month's issue, as well as having lots of features and something about Victory at Sea, there was a sprue of German winter infantry, which Johnny B is picking his way through at the moment. It's a Warlord late war German infantry sprue, which was quite nice. A couple of days ago, we got some new information about tanks. It wasn't like a big press release or anything. It was more just on the Gale Force 9 website. There was some information about pre-orders. Looks like the game is going to be available from September, and we've got some new stat cards. So the game is releasing with 4 models, and there's going to be boosters for another 4 models. For people in the hobby, the boosters are a little bit of a disappointment, I think, because the new price is, I think, £10. Maybe $14 US and about $1 million Australian dollars, no doubt. But at the old price of £8, if you needed an extra vehicle for a unit or something, you'd often just pick up the tanks kit. I think moving the price point up a little bit, because they're pre-built and primed and so forth. I understand why they're a higher cost, but it's no longer looking like quite such a cheap option for getting an extra model or two for a unit, which is a shame. The one major change I noticed by having a look at the stills that they've released is they've definitely changed the point system. We looked at tanks a month or so ago with the information that we'd had out for a while and compared the points to the old points. They were comparable, although different. The stat cards that they've shown us over the past few days have very different points, with the tanks costing more 40 to 50 points or 35 to 55, I think, in that starting kit. Hopefully it's still fairly similar. They've just increased, maybe doubled the points to give them a little bit more granularity on the equipment cards. I hope that's what they're doing, because I often felt with equipment cards that you were usually better off, rather than spending 20 points on equipment cards, just getting another tank. Whereas if the relationship between equipment and vehicles is changed rather than between the vehicles one and each other, then that's great. Last bit of industry news, of course, is about Warhammer's 9th edition. We've been told now it's going up for pre-order in a matter of days, and we'll be on a 2-week pre-order. The box that we've seen is not a starter box. Apparently, it's a limited edition launch box. Whether there'll be something very similar released afterwards for less money, I imagine that they will. Probably it's a bit of a GW grab to get us all to buy the starter box twice, to be honest. But the models do look nice, they certainly do. But also in the news, they've released the core rule set, and it's a lot more comprehensive than the one before, which is good. It addresses a lot of problems. And my particular interest is there's a lot more basic stratagems. There's a lot more things that everyone can do. And I like that, because there were so many things in codexes which were pretty pivotal, but not everybody had them, but most people had them. A broader range of everyone has access to stratagems has got to be a good thing. But the other thing is, what slipped under the radar a little bit is, as part of the Pariah, which was one of their sort of update books for the end of 8th edition about Necrons and co, included a reference to squats. I'll see if I can dig it out and put it on the screen. It's a pretty tacit, I don't know, pretty small reference, but it undeniably is referring to squats. And I think a lot of people would like to see the Space Dwarves return. I certainly would. But then again, can I really have another Warhammer army in my life? Yeah, probably. Channel news, here in the UK the lockdown rules are starting to be relaxed and we're all crossing our fingers that there isn't a second spike. Now for us on the channel, these are exciting times because we can start talking about battle reports again. We're fundamentally a bat rep channel that does a little bit of other stuff, but our channel is two idiots fumbling their way through a war game in my spare room. That is something you will be seeing again in the very near future. In fact, we've already got the first one recorded, which you will see on Friday, which will be a kill team video with Mr. James Workshop. Sadly, you won't be seeing Johnny B in the battle report for quite a while because he's on the shielded list, so sharing an enclosed space for an extended period of time is probably not wise. Hopefully, towards the end of August, the advice on that will change, but obviously his health and well-being is more important than us playing a few games together. So hopefully for the next few weeks, what you're going to see is again the kind of one man, maybe these lockdown or update type videos on a Wednesday, and on a Friday for definite you're going to see a battle report as long as we can record them. As soon as we can get the content produced and edited, we'll go to 2 battle reports a week for a while until we've at least caught up with all of the major games, and then we're having a bit of a rethink about how we schedule things going forwards. But we need to get a body of content available first in order to do that. But yeah, Friday, Kill Team, check it out. I'm going to hand you back over to me from the past, who recorded the rest of this content previously. So Black Seas then. We played a few games, working our way through the introductory scenarios, and we'd come to a point where I realised I needed to build another ship. So what have we done so far? Well, I'm sure you've seen this before, the KR multi-case. To be honest, not made a huge amount of progress on the models. The only thing that I had to do for us to play the next one is to build another and paint another ship. Haven't rigged it yet. Not entirely sure that I'm going to put the rigging on it. Mark had a go at these. He built them originally, the Blundering Bishop, and here it's a lot of faff. But you never know, maybe. But at least we got the model ready, so we can in fact play the next mission, and hopefully you'll be seeing that quite soon. Let's hear from Mr. Johnny B and what he's got in a amphibious maritime sort of capacity.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, thanks for that, Kaiser. Very interesting boats and stuff. What interests me more is the guys inside, the guys that operated off of these boats during World War II. It's 1940, and armed with kayaks, woolly hats, massive balls, and their famous war cry, "Johnny!" These guys would assault Fortress Europe. I got 10 painted. Let's have a little look, shall we? Boop.
Ah, yes, here we are, folks. If you didn't guess it already, I'm talking about commandos. Oh, yeah. These boys volunteered to go and mess up Hitler's day. They'd roll off of those boats in said kayaks with their woolly hats and massive balls and go and blow up Hitler's personal stash of peach schnapps and bratwurst. Yeah, I'm kind of hoping me and Kaiser can get some games in. I've only got the 10, but I wouldn't mind doing some coastal raids and bits and bobs like that in boat action. We'll have to see though once we come out of this madness. Right, I guess we'll have to go back. Boop.
There you go, 10 commandos. Ooh, yeah. I'm going to have to hand you back to the Kaiser now, sorry. He's going to talk to you about, I don't know, how many biscuits you can fit on the lower deck of a destroyer. I mean, it is his show and what have you. For now. See you next week.
Thank you for that, John. Always good to see the ever-expanding roles and opportunities for your British Boat Action Force. Cruel Seas. Not had a game of it on the channel yet, but it's going to be the next naval game that we play, another Warlord Games package. So, Mark's got the British ships at the moment, which he's painting, as I believe, during the lockdown. Although, like a lot of us, he's got kids, so lockdown doesn't give you that much free time. But one of the things I've realised in playing Cruel Seas was some of the problems with tracking the tokens. So I actually went on eBay and bought some of these little hit point trackers and so forth from a company called Mango Terrain, I think they are. I don't know whether they sell anywhere other than eBay, but I've got 6 of these. Going to give them a go. They look pretty nifty, better than those little bits of paper clip down. The only snag with them, I think, they didn't take long to build and they weren't that difficult, but they're actually quite heavy when you've got a fair few of them in the box. In terms of the painted models then, as far as I've got so far, I've got some of the German E-boots painted. I think the Germans call them S-boats for Schnellboot or heavy or armoured boat, and we call them E-boats for enemy boats. And I also bought this armed trawler, which is a horrendous resin and metal kit, but I think I'm going to need this in one of the quite early missions rather than using a little bit of cardboard. If there's a problem with this model, other than the fact that it's resin metal and I've covered myself in super glue, it's got metal, soft metal masts, which are very difficult to get straight, and the hull, you're not going to see it there, but if you put it on top of something flat, it's quite badly bowed. I believe that there's some magic that you can do with putting it in hot water and then blanching it or something. I might have a go at that, but I'm worried that the whole thing will just turn into gloop. But we'll see. Cruel Seas, then, is something you should be seeing as we get out of lockdown and start playing games. Another naval war game of, you know, men in woolly jumpers firing machine guns at each other in the North Sea. Should be exciting. Mr. James Workshop been working on a little side project. Let's have a look, James.
Hello everybody, James Workshop here. The theme for this week's video is It Came From The Sea, anything naval related. I initially wasn't sure for the first time since we started these lockdown videos that I'd actually have anything to contribute, but I definitely do have something naval related, something a little bit unusual. Let's go and have a look. So what we have here is the Masterbox MB35153, the Soviet Marines Attack 1941 to 1942. It's a 1:35 scale kit that I've picked up for a future project that we have ongoing. You get 5 separate models in this kit. They're actually incredibly similar to the art on the front, so it is sort of a case of what you see is what you get with this one. Inside the box you have a sprue, which you see here. They're quite well put together sprues. I didn't really have any complaints about them whatsoever. The only thing that I can say is it is both a positive and a negative. The fairly stereotypical shirts that you can sort of see there, that they have with the stripes on, are moulded. So I know that I'm going to have to paint that before I put that one together. So I do actually have a couple of them painted. Let's see how the camera does with this. So here's a Rifleman. They're really lovely models once they go together, and here you see the unit sergeant, who is equipped by the looks of it with a C96. There was also an option with a Soviet issue revolver as well. So yeah, that's that little lot. You should see them in an upcoming video or series of videos in the future, so look forward to that. There's a lot of talk of Russian bias in the rules in World War II games. I don't know if you can tell, but I lean pretty hard into that. I'm not a power gamer, I just really like the Russian forces. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next video.
There is nothing that says sailor more than a stripy shirt and a ribbon in your cap with some tight trousers that are profoundly flared at the bottom. Those models look beautiful and I can't wait to see them. Speaking of Marines, a game that we have not played yet from Flames of War, Team Yankee. Team Yankee is kind of entering its 2nd edition and about to have quite a big release. And I purchased this, among others, to get ready for that. Looking at a couple of different armies, but one of the things that occurred to me looking at the more modern lists is the US Marine Corps, till quite late on, was still using M60s. So it might make an interesting force to put up against some of the forces in, I think it's called Oil Wars, which covers their Middle Eastern armies. I think if you're playing Abrams against those armies, it might be a bit one-sided. But with M60s and a lot of infantry, it might make for an interesting battle, and we've already got a nice desert board. We are going to be playing a range of different armies in Team Yankees, but the US Marine Corps is one of the ones on the bench. It's about this time in the video I usually recommend a YouTuber to you, so while we are on the subject, a lot of Second World War stuff that we've talked about here is Jens from Tabletop Generals. He's one of these YouTube channels that tends to cover a whole campaign, a little bit at a time, really nice miniatures and so forth, and he's like a really nice chap. Be mindful though, Jens is not from England, and half of his videos are in German and half of them are in English. Here's Jens to tell you a little bit about what he does.
Hello, I'm Jens from Tabletop Generals, and yeah, this is a short introduction into my channel and the project I'm following, and it's recreation of the Second World War in its entirety, with the goal to put the Second World War on the tabletop to its 80th anniversary. Meanwhile, we have done Case White, we have done Winter War, we have done Unternehmen Weserübung, Battle for Norway, Now we are in case yellow and case red. It's the battle for France and the Low Countries. And in this year we will start Africa, the North African campaign, and so on. So the next 5 years is more or less a lot of battle reports all around the Second World War in 15 and 28 millimeters with bolt action, chain of command, flames of war and battle group. Yeah, sometimes some tutorials, some unboxings, but most of the time are battle reports. That's more or less all you have to know. Have a good time and bye!
And finally for today, let's have a look at something from the Kitbash Corner.
Hi there, Clueless Mike here with another Kitbash Corner. Today we have a Chaplain Venerable Dreadnought. So Forge World used to make a model for this, but it is no longer available, but I really like the idea of them and the rules are kick-ass at the moment, probably no longer, so I decided to knock myself up. He is made from various different Dreadnought kits. I think his feet, because they look the most like the actual Forge World model, are from the Ironclad kit. He's got venerable legs to him. The front is a cut and paste of the Blood Angel Death Company Dreadnought and the Blood Angel Furioso Dreadnought. He's got the arm. This side is from the Venerable Dreadnought kit. I can pull out and swap the plasma cannon for a las cannon or some other stuff. I've put some building bits on the top of him, adds the model a bit of height, and I like the gold bits on there. He's got a Venerable Dreadnought's Power Fist on this side, and then he's holding the Demon Hammer Haft from a Nemesis Dreadnought, and then the wings on the top of his croziers that I've made there are backpacks from Dark Angel Black Knights, and the point of his kind of like macy part there is made from the top of a building sprue. I've also given him slight extra height by adding an kind of like a plastic washer of some sort in the middle, just to give him a bit more height and stature, as he has more wounds than a standard Dreadnought. And that is he.
Another great piece. Thanks for that, buddy. That's all there is for you today. Well, you can stay home, and whatever, stay safe. Take care of each other. And thank you for watching. Bye-bye. If you're still here and you enjoyed the episode, why don't you check out our website, modelingforadvantage.co.uk.
For your viewing pleasure, my section of 10 out of focus, buck-toothed, gammy-eyed, wrong-coloured commandos. Yay. Let's try and fix that.
You won't be seeing much of John for a while, unfortunately, because being Ginger, he's actually on the specials list.